Our only Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week is Hutton Napier. Also, Hutt Smash is what we called them, and the hashtag that we gave him as well during, was that even his senior season? Did we wait for his senior season to come up with that, or was that his junior year?
I think it was his senior year that it might have existed before that, but it was the senior year that we really started using it a lot. The team of realtors at Ole Penn Real Estate wish you and your family good health during this stay home, stay safe time. Their team has health and safety measures in place to protect you and everyone involved in the process. If you're thinking about selling your home, now is a great time. There are more buyers than available homes. Many homes are still receiving multiple offers and are selling for above asking price. Ole Penn Real Estate will help you put the most money possible in your pocket in less time without the hassle. Visit sellmyharborhome.com to get your home market ready. The Ole Penn team is ready to work for you.
So Hutton started as a freshman for that Montesano state championship team, which is just ridiculous to think about a freshman starting on that team. But by the time he got to his senior year in 2015, he was first team all-league offense and defense. He was the team defensive MVP, leading the team in tackles from a defensive line position, which is bonkers. And he was first team all-state offense and defense as well. And as a junior, he was also first team all-league, both offenses and defense as well. So it just ridiculous accolades as a senior. They're both offense and defense. First team all-state is something you don't really see that often. And what you especially don't see is, especially with that defense, as I say especially about a million times, is that he led that team in tackles. Usually it is a linebacker in that way that they play that 3-5 stack that ends up leading the team in tackles, but instead it was a defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, Hutton, obviously one of our absolute favorite players to cover of all time. And, you know, we've known him, we knew him since he was kind of a little guy. Hutton's older brother is a good friend of ours, and also Hutton's dad was not only a friend but a coworker and my boss for many years. So like we're very familiar with Hutton, and he's a great kid. It didn't surprise me at all when he got in as a freshman and throughout the course of the year worked his way into the starting lineup, because I remember when he was in junior high and kind of like just starting to really play football, that he played some fullback and they didn't give him the ball very often, but almost every time they gave him the ball, he ran for a touchdown because no one could tackle him. So when we tell you that the hashtag was Hutt Smash, that's like Hulk Smash, because he literally was like a freaking beast of a person. Like the kid, even in high school, from a freshman age, was so massively strong. And I'm a big guy, and I've always been a big guy. And once we were playing Ultimate Frisbee, when he was like 14 or 15, and we both went up for a Frisbee, and he ran into me. And I'm not really used to getting the worst end of collisions like that, but he hit me with such force that I had like a massive welt, like huge bruise on the side of my leg, and I could barely walk the next day. And I remember seeing Hutton's dad and being like, please don't tell him. Please don't tell him that this is going on, because I don't know that I could take that kind of embarrassment. But also because he was such a nice kid, and I knew that he would feel bad for hurting me. But when it came to Hutton's high school football career, he just progressively got better, you know, from freshman all the way through senior, to the point where when he was a senior, Monty's head coach, Terry Jensen, called him one of the best players we've ever had here. This was once in a post-game interview when I was talking to Terry Jensen, and I thought, man, there's been a lot of really great players who have come through this program, and Terry Jensen is a great coach, and he's seen tons of great players. So to get a compliment like that from Terry says a lot about Hutton.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember talking to Coach Jensen about Hutton his senior year especially, and just you couldn't get more complimentary of a player, I feel like, and it was so much fun. You're right, we've known him for a long time, and I think before his freshman year I played Frisbee with him too, and I was like, you're not supposed to be that big and still move that fast,
Yeah.
is what I came up with. And you're right with the Hulk smash and the Hutt smash, because I think it popped into our heads after we saw him just demolish an offensive lineman and then grab this poor unsuspecting quarterback and just ragdoll them to the ground. And it was shocking
Yeah.
almost how powerful he was taking guys down. And we would watch games where the team playing against him would go into it thinking, all right, we'll just put our best offensive lineman over there and, it'll be a good matchup. And then the first two plays would happen and it would most likely be a sack and then the quarterback throwing the ball away or then falling on the ground in terror. And then for the rest of the game, it was doubles or triple teams over there to try and block him on that side of the field. It completely changed how teams played against him.
Absolutely. And from that, with all the attention that he attracted, and he played on a really good team, and there was a lot of other good athletes on that team. He led the team in sacks, which is not surprising as a defensive end that if you're one of the best players that you could lead the team in sacks. But the fact that he led the team in tackles is absolutely staggering. Like Daniel mentioned, when there's so many linebackers on the field and so many guys on that second level to be there and just swallow up the tackles. But the reason why, like Daniel mentioned, you're not supposed to be that big and also be able to move that fast. I can't tell you how many times I watched him come from the opposite side of the field and chase down the other team's running back from behind on the opposite sideline. Like there were so few players on the field as big and as strong as he was. There were so few guys that could outrun him that it was really it was incredible to watch him play defense. And then on offense, it was like pancake after pancake after pancake. He would just be taking defenders down to the ground on a regular basis. And that's how, even as a lineman, like that's how you get attention when the other coaches start to go, oh crap, my guy's on the ground. Oh crap, my guy's on the ground. That's how you get all state accolades, because that's how you build up that kind of reputation.
The teams that he played for as well, like when he was a freshman starting on a team that went and won the state championship, and just to think of the talent level that he had to be starting on that team. And it was something that, you were hoping they could make it back as seniors, and it didn't quite happen. But it was just amazing to watch that even somebody so talented early still seemed to grow every year throughout his high school career as well.
And I think the other thing that's important to note about Hutton is, and we know this really well because we know him well, but his, like, just what a good person he was very evident to everyone. And one of the things Terry Jensen said about him was earlier, like freshman, sophomore, and even part of his junior year, he was more of like just a quiet leader. He kind of led by example. And then his senior year, and they had a team in the senior year where they made it to the state semifinals. So they played at the Dome, and they lost a game by 3 to Kings. It was a crazy game, and they lost a really by a narrow margin to Kings in that game. And after that game, I was working for the Vidette at the time, so I covered that team as extensively probably as anyone has ever covered a 1A high school football team ever anywhere. And part of what I did to wrap up the season was to write a profile on Hutton. And I thought it would be fun to just read a few of the quotes that I got from Terry Jensen talking about Hutton, because he said, in part, "You've always got special players in your program, and he's definitely one of them. Montesano," he said, "he's a great football player, but he's an even better person than he is as a football player. To me, that's the ultimate compliment you can have. He's one of the best football players we've ever had here, and to say that he's an even better person says a lot about his character." So high praise, really kind words from his head coach.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you brought that out. That's really cool to not only look back and see that in print, but also
These still exist, people.
yeah,
Newspapers.
exactly. Newspapers, and they're good too, especially when you want to cover local sports. That's what you got to have, and that's really cool that you went and you did that profile, and I'm glad that you're able to find that specifically and bring that quote in too.
I actually have the sports section from every single newspaper that I did for the year that I worked at the Vidette. So I realized I have a ton of stuff. And today,
That's
when
awesome.
when we were talking about using Hutton as our athlete of the week, I dug it out and I just kind of got lost for like a half an hour going through all these different articles and just all the great memories. Jordan Spradlin was during that year. The Montesano fast pitch team won a state title that year as well.
Shocker.
There's just so many great, I know, right? So many great memories from that year for me. Just how much fun it was just to cover those kids and, have a chance to talk to them every once in a while about their accomplishments.
And easy to get lost in memories like that too when you start digging through things. All right, that's going to be it for our athlete of the week. Again, our historical athlete of the week brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate is Hutton Napier.